Today we're going to talk about business management. Legal structure. Pricing for profit is very important to your business. Competition is one of the characteristics of business in the United States. There are legal safeguards against unfair competition and price discrimination, which apply to all companies. Government regulation both affects and benefits small business. There is federal regulation designed to encourage and protect any private enterprise company. If you go to the library, you will see several acts, most of which are listed in your module. One is the United States Department of Justice, which helps small business indirectly by enforcing antitrust laws. 2 is Federal Trade Commission, which stops unfair competition and unfair and deceptive acts. 3 is Sherman Antitrust Act, an anti-monopoly law that prevents restraints to free competition which tend to limit production, raise prices, or tries to control a market. And finally, the Clayton Act, which stops schemes and practices that discriminate, and it supplements the Sherman Act. Some examples of illegal practices are price fixing, which is illegal under the Sherman Act. Exclusive deals stops a seller from making the buyer's sale conditional upon the buyer's promise not to make purchases from a competition. And false and deceptive advertising, which is a violation of Federal Trade Commission if a product is misrepresented or there is a failure to disclose information which could be misleading or could hurt the competition. There is also price discrimination. The Clayton Act prohibits price discrimination that may result in discriminating against competition. Competitors cannot compete with unjust low prices or discounts. Small business owners should understand and be aware of the laws designed to help and protect the small business owner and the competitors. Ownership legal papers. Copyright, a legal protection provided to authors of original works. The following work can be copyrighted: literary works, musical works, dramatic works, graphic works, sound recordings, and audio works. The copyright is there to protect your work. The symbol C, the letter C in a circle, or the word copyright is used to let someone know that this is your work and they cannot copy it. The advantage of getting material copyrighted is there is a public record of your work and it serves as evidence if someone copies it. The address is listed on your module of the Copyright Office. Corporation is another one. A person by law can go bankrupt. Most common way of running a business. A corporation is created under state law and qualifies to do business in all other states. There are requirements, however, to have a corporation. You must prepare articles of incorporation. You must file with the state. You must have some bylaws. You must print and sell stock and set up a corporate banking account. Trademarks. Logo, word, or symbol, unique name, slogan used to identify a product. A service mark identifies and distinguishes a service rather than a product. A trade name is used to designate a company rather than a product or service. And copyright regulation cannot be made for names, titles, or other short phrases or expressions. The above are renewed every 10 years. Trademark, TM stands for trademark distinction, and once it's completed, you use R for registered. According to the Small Business Administration, women account for over 30% of the nation's self-employed. The Women's Economic Development offers women a service hotline. A 10-minute conference costs $5. Very worthwhile. $25 an hour, and the addresses are listed. There's also sole proprietorship, where the owner is the business. An assumed name certificate, if the business is not in your own name, and a federal employee ID number. Small business owners should have a separate bank account to keep records. They must report all business profit as direct income on their personal income tax. The number one cause of business failure is lack of funds. Do not be afraid to ask bank personnel, accountants, lawyers, brokers, friends, or someone in your industry. People are usually glad to help you get started. Some tips for successful business tactics are: find a mentor, quality over quantity, be kind always be ethical, be friendly with your competition, be positive. Look for an employee with these traits. Make things happen. As we follow ahead in taxes, you need to be familiar with employer laws if you want to employ people. Federal and state laws provide wages and working conditions with limits that protect the employee. There is the Fair Standards Act. This act sets minimum wages, overtime pay, and time limits. The Securities Act. This act requires you to share in the cost of providing some retirement benefits to employees. Federal income tax legislation. This legislation requires a deduction of tax from the employee's pay according to how many dependents they have. The W-4 form for employees is available from the Internal Revenue Service. FICA taxes. Each quarter, this Social Security tax is deducted to date and must be reported. The employee must authorize any deduction in writing. Equal Pay Act. Employers must pay employees the same, regardless of sex. Minors. Check with your state to see what restrictions to follow. Number of hours, what type of work they can do, and how many break periods they are supposed to have. Workmen's compensation. Most states require this to cover medical and hospital treatment, along with providing some income coverage during an illness or recovery. You are the manager of your business. Keep organized, pay taxes, and be sure to file those reports. Bookkeeping is very important. It safeguards your assets and minimizes your mistakes. Original documents. Record sales when made, things like sales slips, invoice checks, and time cards. Always make copies for yourself. Journals. Keep in chronological order with credits and debits. Keep a record of everything that comes in and everything that goes out of the business. Cash, orders, checks, etc. Ledgers. This is a record of increases, decreases in assets, liabilities, capital, and income expenses. Trial balances. This is used as an extra check for entries in a ledger to compare balances and be sure everything is in order. This is usually done near the end of a business period. Financial statements. Once the trial balance is complete, then this statement of profit and loss should be completed. This is usually prepared 5 to 10 days after the close of the business period and is used in order to study to see what your situation is and where, if any changes, should be considered. Pricing. You are in business to make money. Therefore, it is fundamental that the selling price should maximize the difference between the profit and loss. The ideal way to give a fair price and value on quality service is to show benefits to a buyer. One of the most common pricing techniques in business is the cost-plus method. This means that the company figures out the cost of the product and/or service and then adds on a set percentage of that figure to establish an acceptable level of profit. This is a good strategy for retail business. If a company buys a product for $10 apiece, then decides it wants a gross profit of 30%, and then figures in overhead, rent, advertising, utilities, wages, etc., that amounts to 50% of the total sales volume, then the product would price at $19.50. So you have the cost of the product, $10, plus $3 gross profit, plus overhead, $6.50, equals the sale price of $19.50. In her book, Homemade Money, Barbara Brabeck presents one of the easiest formulas for determining an hourly rate. It was originally published in the Crafts Report. The hourly rate formula can be used to determine what to charge per hour for a service. These steps are: determine your desired annual net income, how much profit that you want to make yearly, how many hours do you want to work a year. Be sure to include time spent on office work, errands, and any other business-related jobs. Next, figure out your annual expenses based on a total from your estimates on the amount of monies to be paid out. The formula is the desired annual net income divided by the number of hours worked a year. This formula will give you the hourly rate you need to charge in order to realize your desired net income. For example, your desired annual net income equals $10,000. Number of hours worked yearly, 1,000, 20 hours a week times 50 weeks. Annual expenses, 8,000 from cash to be paid out. In order to net $10,000 per year, you will have to work 1,000 hours and charge $18 an hour. The formula is flexible. If you want to make more profit, then you charge higher or work more hours. Whatever you decide to do, always increase your expenses too. Because if you work more hours, you increase the use of utilities and supplies. A decrease in your annual expenses will decrease the rate you get an hour. You can still charge $18 an hour and have the difference be extra. Perhaps $18 an hour is too much to charge based on your competition. Then you need to consider lowering your annual net income, annual expenses, or work more hours. Budget cash flows. Estimate the costs that are expected to be involved in your business. List for yourself fixed and variable costs. Fixed costs are things like salaries, taxes, rent, utilities, advertising, travel, sales promotion, supplies, and employees. And variable costs are material, copying, travel, manufacturing, or entertainment. These are measured each month and used to compare to see where funds are going and what you need to adjust in order to make your desired income. Barters and loans. The loan that is most commonly used is the unsecured loan or a loan where no collateral is required. These loans must be paid back, usually within 1 year. There are many options to discuss with a banker that you can decide on when opening your new business. Commercial banks, savings and loan organizations, federal government agencies, and private financing institutions are available to help you with this decision. A good way to begin, in order to keep your overhead down and build up your business reputation at the same time, is to barter. Bartering is trading with another service. For example, you can go in and train employees of a printing business, and you in payment would get all the printing you need. Once you begin a business, this is an invaluable method. Printing costs are high, even though it costs the printer very little to let you print what you need, and all it costs you is your time and materials. There are books in the library on bartering. However, it is really simple to call places you feel would make a good win-win situation, where both of you would benefit, and discuss this as a possibility. It also serves as a networking source. The printer could put your information on their counter. Hundreds of people frequent printing services per day, and you can give out flyers on the printing service. Moving over to the appendix, I would like to share with you a proposal that I used for a beauty shop in the Detroit area. And that way you can see how to do a proposal of your own by this example. An analysis of this proposal. Raphael is developing an exciting new concept in the beauty business and would like to have the hairstylist understand his concept and be eager to work under his direction. These hairstylists would need to understand how to relate to other hairstylists as well as to clients. My responsibility would be to implement these principles. The training that I would create would combine integrated thinking and consistency. The customer should feel at home. When a regular client walks in, we hope to know everything from how she likes her manicures to how she takes her coffee. The client of the 90s should not have to ask. Rather, she should get what she wants without asking. Objectives and goals would be to establish a working team relationship between the stylist to be cooperative and harmonious with other stylists and to enhance the stylist-client relationship. My main objectives would be as follows: increase communication skills, human behavior development, cooperative teamwork, increase productivity, obtain maximum sales potential, personality profile of the employees, reduce stress and anxiety, maximize self-esteem within the organization, and create excellence in client loyalty. The format of the program. Each stylist would be given an individual personality profile to help them to understand who they are and how they relate to others. By administering this profile, they will be aware of other personality types and learn how to relate to a personality style different than their own. Ideally, the stylist consultation on an individual basis, however, they will be held in groups of 4 to 6. This seminar would include image and personality traits. Then I would like to have a group seminar with all the stylists after they have had their personality profiles and they understand other people's behavior, to include a discussion of personality traits and cooperation with personality types different than their own. Through the use of role play and discussion, they would learn how to project a harmonious relationship between the stylist and the stylist, between stylist and client. The practice would be between stylist and stylist to prepare them for the stylist-client relationship. Finally, I feel it extremely necessary to have a sales seminar to motivate these people to the selling of services and products and how to acquaint the client of the various aspects of the products sold through Raphael. My goal is to show the stylist how to make the client part of the process so the client feels it is their choice to obtain the exclusive product and/or service. There will be, per arrangement, a preceding planning session with Raphael to discuss plans and a post-meeting session to review what took place. Any stylist feedback, and if necessary, discuss any further training that may be needed to ensure maximum effectiveness on a long-term basis. Normally it serves good purpose to have training on a continual basis over time, to have people know that you mean business and you expect your business to be taken seriously. Some requested marketing proposals. Modeling acting. A school with training by reputable professionals is something desperately needed in the area. A large demand in this area begins with the need for young babies. You could market from babies to seniors for a very successful program. Image Beauty Seminars. With the use of my trademark program and book, From Head to Soul, a daily guide to personal style and inner self-confidence for women and for men, you could initiate an exclusive area program. Charm School. People would like to see a comeback to the era of etiquette and manners. Children aged 6 to 10 would be thrilled, and so would their parents. Makeup classes. You can have your own makeup artist teach these, or I can. Wardrobe. People love clothes. Why not have a class to show people how to wear them correctly? These are just some thoughts about what can be done to utilize an extra room. From past experience, I know these are ideas that will work with the right marketing, your clientele, and with reputable people instructing.